Supreme Court. Joining me right now is Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington State and Alexis Miguel Johnson, a Planned Parenthood board member and the executive director of the Perception Institute. I want to talk to the senator first. Just generally, you've been confronted with this staggering news that the vacancy sits there, number 5 on a 9-person court, right in the middle.
Unbelievable. I think the most important thing about this whole thing is that the president's views are out of the mainstream of the American public. So the question is the president going to insert his views, or is he going to consult with Congress on what are the mainstream views of America on this particular issue?
What did you make of his talk about?
Horrible.
It's a little weird to talk about even. What did he mean by some form of punishment? I mean, that's a little imaginative.
The fact that he took this pledge during the campaign and said that he is going to appoint nominees that believe this. So he's not for holding up the privacy rights that now have been well established and supported by many courts. He's basically saying, I'm going to roll that back. And so now he has an opportunity to really put his thumb on the scale to make that difference. We have to do everything possible to make sure that that doesn't happen. So his views are not in the mainstream, and that's the case that we need to take to every member of the United States Senate. You're willing to change what has now been accepted as policy in our state. It's been codified into state law. Maybe we'll have a campaign in every state in America to show people that we are going to fight for these privacy rights.
Well, Ronald Reagan picked Justice Kennedy. And Justice Kennedy basically believed in the Casey case, he said there cannot be, and the essential right of a woman to choose an abortion, the right to choose, to make the decision, must be protected, and there'll be no undue burden put on her head. Like you got to do this 1 minute after midnight. No tricks, no undue burden. He said none of that.
Right. And so the point is that you have now this libertarian judge now being replaced by a president who is showing authoritarian tendencies.
Mike Pence tendencies.
Authoritarian. So he's like, it's my way, and this is the way.
Can you stop this? Can you slow it down to, here's my hope, you can slow it down until after the voters vote, so you can throw this to the people this fall, so they got to say in this thing.
We're going to throw it to them right now. These privacy rights that are so important across the board are things that are now been well established and are in the penumbra. What we're going to point out is that this president, if he's getting his list from the Federalist Society or the Heritage Foundation, is supporting textualists. That's it. And a textualist means they're not going to agree that these privacy rights, whether it's your right to privacy at home, whether it's your right to privacy on the internet, whether it's your right to privacy as a woman, that they are going to support the penumbra that is existing within the Constitution. That's the fight we're going to take to the people, and that's where we're going to ask our colleagues on the other side of the aisle to make sure that they're supporting those privacy rights as well.
Well, Susan Collins is great, and she said she respects judges and accept it as it is. But what do you think, Senator Cantwell? Do you believe that Roe v. Wade is safe?
No, because when a president makes that pledge on national TV and says he's going to stick to it and then goes to the absurd measure of saying he would punish women, then I think you have to take him. What we know he said during the campaign, he is implementing. And what we don't want is a bench that basically is going to follow that textualist list that's being sent to him. It'd be one thing if he was calling us up and saying, okay, I hear you. Let's hear who you think are justices that would follow privacy rights.
Well, this 5-4 court has done stuff none of us could imagine. It intervened in a presidential election in 2000, took it out of the hands of the states, and decided that George W. Bush, the 5 Republicans of the court, said should be president. And they voted 5-0 to make George W. Bush the president of the United States. On Citizens United, they said money should talk more than the voter.
Right.
They made that partisan decision. They keep making partisan decisions, and then they say we're above partisanship. What nonsense.
It's not about partisanship. It is, but it's about corporations. The other side right now is hurrying in the tax bill to give corporations what they want. They have people who are in the cabinet who are not following regulations, and now they want a court that is also going to side with them and basically say whether it's clean air that basically was so hard.
You mean the working people of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Indiana, and Michigan, and places like the working stiff out there, man and woman, they thought they were getting a populist president. What they got is a corporate shill.
Well, right now, if they're going to overturn this as the textualists want, then no, the little guy is not going to be represented on the bench.
Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington State. I want to thank Alexis Miguel Johnson. Wish we had more time. This is a huge night. Up next.